working. Oh, that is working. How about that? What's that? If I don't know what's happening, I can't say no. All right. Come on in. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Yisrael ve'oraita, Yisrael chadu, Yisrael ve'oraita, Yisrael ve'oraita chadu. Torah, Hora, Torah, Hora, Hallelujah. 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 Yisrael ve'oraita, Yisrael chadu, Yisrael ve'oraita, Yisrael ve'oraita chadu. I'm going to invite folks to grab a siddur. We are on page 542. 542 in your siddur. First one who gets a siddur gets to read the poem on page 542. All right. Actually, Sandra, as long as you're here, can I invite you to read this poem on the top of page 542? I have to get this so it's pointing to you. I'm not great at this. All right. Look at that. I think I did it. I think I did it. Okay. All right. We'll be with you in a second. All right, we're ready now.
Ready to go. Okay, welcome to Shavuot. When I was a little kid, I had no idea what Shavuot even was. I knew Hanukkah, I knew Passover, and I knew a little bit about the high holidays, but that was about it. And when I got to Congregation Beit Havarim, I saw kids dancing with Torahs, and I thought that was pretty cool. But it was only today or recently that I found out that this is one of the 3 most important holidays in the Jewish calendar, and that it actually is a time of learning. So get ready, because we were all at Mount Sinai ready to receive the Torah. Come in with your heads to think. Come in with your hearts. And come in with your imagination as we run through an entire evening of Shavuot plans. We'll start with a poem. Now summer's prospect, the world ripening and growing softer, the promise of harvest fulfilled, the warm sun lies before us. Now the vision of Torah, the world at peace and growing gentler, the promise of goodness fulfilled, the loving heart lies open to the mind. In every generation, our people has sought you, hallowed is their seeking. We too seek you. with trust that your light is not hidden from those who seek you with a whole heart. And Ruth said, do you want that part too?
Sure. I mean,
and
it is
Ruth said,
traditional to read the book of Ruth. Yes.
this is the holiday of Ruth. Do not prevail upon me to depart from you, to turn away from you. For wherever you may go, I shall go to. Wherever you may stay, I shall stay too. Your people shall be mine, and God, your God, mine.
Shakar. And I didn't introduce, Sandra is the head of our adult ed VOD, so no wonder she's talking about Torah. This is fantastic. So we're going to start with Baruch Hu. And I'm going to invite you to turn to page 56 and 7 as we rise in body or spirit. Ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya 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 da 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 da. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach leolam vaed. Ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya 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 da 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 da. You may be seated. On page 60, I invite you to join me in the English. Praised are you, God, ruler of the universe, who has ordained the rhythm of life. The day with its light calls to activity and exertion, but when the day wanes, when, with the setting of the sun, colors fade, we cease from our labors and welcome the tranquility of night. The subdued light of the moon and the stars, the darkness and the stillness about us invite rest and repose. Trustfully we yield to the quiet of sleep, for we know that when we are unaware of what goes on within and around us, our powers of body and mind are renewed. Therefore, at this evening hour, we seek composure of spirit. We give thanks for the day and its tasks, and for the night and its rest. Praised are you, God, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv haravim. Ahavat Olam on page 63 is going to go into the Shema on 65. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Avta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu lemadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokmeinu v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu uvahem ge yomam v'layla yomam v'layla ve'avatacha lo tasu mimenu le'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Turn to page 70. I invite you to join me in the English. So place these words upon your heart, into your life breath. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, and let them rest before your eyes. Teach them to your children, speaking of them when you sit at home and when you walk upon the road, when you lie down and when you rise. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, so that your days and your children's days be many on the land the faithful one promised to give your ancestors, as long as heaven rests above the earth. Page 73, 3.5 lines from the bottom, and the transliteration's on 285 if you'd like it. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם Amen. Song of Liberation on page 79. I was asked for an upbeat version the other day, so I'll try and do the CBH upbeat version, which I think I know. 79, top of the page. Micha mocha belim Adonai, Micha mocha nedar bakodesh, Nora tehilot, osefele, osefele. Ya da 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 ya da ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 malchutech ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam zeli Anu ve'amru zeli, anu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, Adonai imloch va'ed. ונאמר כפר אדוני את יעקב בגילו מיד חזק ממנו. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Ya da 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 On page 80, please join me in the English. Help us to lie down, dear one, our God, in peace, and let us rise again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Decree for us a worthy daily lot, and redeem us for the sake of your great name, and enfold us in the wings of your protection. For you are our redeeming guardian. Truly, a sovereign, gracious, and compassionate God are you. Guard our going forth each day for life and peace, now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, compassionate one, who spreads your canopy of peace over all your people Israel, over Jerusalem and the entire world. Say amen. I'm going to invite you to turn to page 594 as we rise in body or spirit. Standing here in Abraham's desert, affirming one God, moving in the old spaces warmed by our ancestors' embrace. Standing here in Sarah's tent, laughing, new life. Moving in the old spaces, renewed by our ancestors' hope. Standing here in my place, listening to our voices, yearning. Moving in my own spaces, translating the silence. The festival evening Amidah is on page 596 through 613. Take as much time as you need. The parts that say Kedusha are not for us. The parts that say other holidays besides Shavuot are not for us. Stick to the parts that say Shavuot in the evening. Let us know that you've gotten to the end of your Amidah by being seated. Nice. Shavuot. Odivo shalom aleinu. Odivo shalom aleinu. Odivo shalom aleinu. Ve'aleinu. Odivo Shalom Aleinu. Odivo Shalom Aleinu. Odivo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Odivo Shalom Aleinu. Odivo Shalom Aleinu. Odivo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Take a moment to think of the people in our world who are in need of healing, whether it is physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. We will chant 2 verses of the Debbie Friedman Mishaberach and pause in the middle to invite you to say out loud the names of anybody you are holding close for healing, imagining them going through the process of healing in whatever way is possible, in whatever way is available to them. Your prayers matter and make such a difference. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Rafeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, healer of the sick. We say Amen. Okay, so we're running about 15 minutes behind, but I think we'll be okay. It's okay. The boss says it's okay, so we're good. There's a handout. Oh, what? Oh, the kids. I know. And behind Mackenzie's artwork, there's a set of handouts that looks like. So walk over to it, and if we could have some help for Christy to get these out to people. There's a blessing for Torah study on the top of the page. Some of you know it, and in the interest of time, I'm just going to jump in because it starts out without words, and hopefully by the time we get to the words, you'll get a piece of paper. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da da da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Yada da da da. Baruch, Baruch. Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu לעסוק בדברי תורה, לעסוק בדברי תורה, הפוך בה והפוך בה, לעסוק בדברי תורה. ידה די 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 די, ידה די 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 די, yada da 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 da, yada da da da. Because one of the things that we wanted to do this year was to really focus on Torah text specifically, as this time, the time of Matan Torah, the gift of Torah, the giving of Torah. We have got 4 teachers who have chosen their favorite text from the 5 books, I believe, from the 5 books. We'll find out. So there's myself, there's Rabbi Ariel, there is Rabbit Stoddard, right? And Cliff. Is Cliff here? Cliff will be here. I'm going to start, and then Mackenzie's got some teaching that she's going to do based on this amazing artwork that's around the room. Mackenzie will come. So we'll have a Mackenzie sandwich, right? the tofu, not meat, right? Not seitan, taro root, the chocolate sandwich. Good. All right. So I picked, of course, I'm giving you. It is verse 14 that I want to at, but I want you to know why we got to verse 14. We're at the end of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is the 5th book. It's the end of the Torah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Do I keep cutting out?
Yeah, I think it's just
It's not the greatest microphone. Here, wait, I'll just use this. All right, I'll just use this. All right. Whoa. Okay. So again, Genesis, beginning, Exodus, getting out of slavery, Leviticus, laws, Numbers, traveling in the desert, Deuteronomy is the end. Moses doing a summary. Moses getting ready to die because Moses knows he's not going to the promised land with the people. And we're almost at the end of the Torah. And he says, Ki ha-mitzvah hazot asher anachi mitzavacha hayom lo nifleit hi mimcha. Can you, I didn't catch your name.
This is Zahava.
Zahava, would you read those verses 11 through 14 for us? Take them to the mic.
I think in English. You want in English? Because she reads Hebrew great.
Well, we want the Hebrew of verse 14.
Okay, all right.
Okay, verse 14.
Oh,
That's
start with
okay. For this mitzvah, which I command you this day, is not hidden from you, nor is it far away from you. It is not in heaven that you should say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it. Nor is it beyond the sea that we should say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it? For the thing is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, to do it.
You want to do Yodalad in Hebrew?
You want to do the last one in
It's a
Hebrew?
little small.
The last piece in Hebrew.
כי קרוב אליך הדבר מאוד, בפיך ובלבבך לעשותו.
יופי. Shekoach. The thing, karov, it's close, alecha, to you. Very close. Beficha uvilvavacha lasoto. It's in your mouth and in your heart to do it. And I love this text of Moses. This is like the pep talk, right? This is, if you're a sports person, this is before the players, this is Ted Lasso, right? While they're in the locker room, and he's believe, right? Well, what's the thing? What's he saying to them? I'm not going to be with you. You have to go out onto the pitch. You have to go out onto the field without me. And don't say, well, Moses isn't here. Who's going to get it for us? Because beficha uvilvavacha, it's in your mouth and in your heart, which is an interesting it's an interesting progression. I don't know if anyone has thought. We don't want to take too much time, but if there's some folks who have some reactions who want to share them, I can open it up for a minute or two. Sandra, I feel like you want to say something. It's in your mouth and in your losoto. Here.
So as you feel, you speak, you take action with what I have told you. You know it inside of you, so speak it, do it.
And we start with the mouth. So, whether it's food or talking, right? I don't know. It's the Jews. We're going to start with the mouth, right? We're going to start talking about it, right? But it's not like someone else has to get it for you, right? It's not out there. It's here. And that's a line, right? And we're going to talk about the Sefirot in a minute, right? It's part of you. So tonight, I want us to look at Torah as not something like, oh, yeah, somebody else is going to do. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what these words mean. Oh, my God, I feel like such a fraud. I'm such a bad Jew. Oh, my God. Right? It's just the details. Lots and lots of books, but it's part of us already. It's yours already. It's ours already. Yeah? There's a story, a Hasidic story. It's a little long, but I think, do I have someone who's good at drama who can read this? Where's Yolanda? Yolanda. Always I pick Yolanda.
What am I reading?
Rabbi, these four, yeah.
Okay.
Rabbi Bunny.
Rabbi Bunham used to tell the story of Rabbi Isaac, son of Rabbi Yekel of Krakow. After years of poverty, which never shook his faith in God, he dreamed of a treasure in Prague under a bridge leading to the king's palace. When the dream recurred a third time, Rabbi Isaac prepared for the journey and set out for Prague. But the bridge was guarded day and night, and he did not dare to start digging. Nevertheless, he went to the bridge every morning, walking around until evening. Finally, the captain of the guards, who had been watching him, asked politely if he was looking for something or waiting for somebody. Rabbi Isaac told him of the dream which had brought him here from a faraway country. The captain laughed. "Ha ha! So, to please the dream, you poor fellow wore out your shoes coming here. Ha ha! As for the faith in dreams, if I'd had it, I should have got going when a dream once told me to go to Krakow and dig for treasure under the stove of a Jew. Isaac, son of Yekel, was his name. Isaac, son of Yekel. I can just imagine what it would be like, how I'd have to try every house there, where half the Jews are named Isaac and the other Yekel." And he laughed again. Rabbi Isaac bowed, traveled home, dug up the treasure from under the stove, and built the house of prayer, which is called Reb Isaac ben Reb Yekel's Shul, Hasidic tale.
Yasher Koach. That was the reading we needed. Nice, yeah. So I when I was discovering Yiddishkeit in my late teens, I always thought like, oh, it's like I've been looking for something. I've been trying to travel around the world looking for a buried treasure. And it was in my backyard the whole time. And then I found this story and I was like, oh my goodness, that's the story. The treasure is with us. The treasure is ours the whole time. We don't need someone else to go get Torah from under the bridge or from across the ocean or in heaven. Martin Buber says in The Way of Man, there is something that can only be found in one place. It is a great treasure, which may be called the fulfillment of existence. The place where this treasure can be found is the place on which one stands. And so I hope tonight you start to identify with, And there's more stuff. Don't look at the stuff. It'll give you a headache if you don't know what's going to. Yeah. I hope you start to identify this as not being outside of you, but part of you, part of your very fabric, part of your spiritual DNA. And we'll talk about how to start investigating and digging into our own, and for our own treasures, connecting to our own wells that are within us. With that, I'm going to invite Mora Mackenzie. My goodness, the visuals around us. Woo, woo, woo. You want to hold on to it? Okay.
Hi, friends. So 3 years ago, I went excavating when we were in lockdown, and I started traveling the Omer. It was the first time I had ever counted, and I got super excited by it because it's got all the stuff. It's got all the mystical juiciness. It's connected to kind of everything. And this year, I went yet more deeper by creating a piece of art for each of the 49 days. My goal is not to give you a big teaching on it. My goal is to invite you to take a journey. And in order to take a journey, I want to help you unpack your bags, if you will. So I think of the journey through the Omer as a path of creation. There's a lot of stories, there's a lot of connection to what is the Omer, and other folks can tell you their interpretation. My connection to it comes partly from the tarot. So I am a tarot card reader, and there's seven parts. And I have to keep it moving, so there's so much that I cannot explain. But for the 7 weeks, there is a theme. And when we think about the process of manifestation, it's really this idea of what are the things that you need to make something manifest in the world. And that might also be in reverse. What is something that exists in the world and you want to travel back to imbue it with more holiness? So I invite you for the moment to just settle into your body and close your eyes, or not. You can look around the room. It doesn't matter. You'll have a chance to get up and move. But for now, I want to take you on a journey. So the tree of life begins actually with Keter and has Bina and Chokmah, which is wisdom and understanding, and Keter is the crown. So those three, if you envision yourself as a tree of life, and Keter is the crown, Bina and Chokmah are on your shoulders. And that is your connection with all that is, with divine, with spirit. And from this place where we are alive in the world, we come on the path of manifestation. And so we begin with love. It always begins with love. Chesed, loving kindness. So take a moment and breathe in what loving kindness means to you. Feel that love of the community, love of your body, love of your life, filling you on this holy night. We begin with the week of Chesed. Just breathe into your heart, feeling that love amplifying. On the path of manifestation, we move to Gevurah, discernment or boundaries. This is where we take the endless, flowing, abundant love, and we begin to put some guardrails on it. We find some boundaries. It's like the loving parent. What do we need to contain in order to go deep? So Gevurah is boundaries. It's the kind of the rules, if you will. And when you think about those places in your life, the things that help you discern, the things that help you have boundaries, the things that give you some essence of the rules in your life, that is Gevurah. And imagine how those rules strengthen you and strengthen an idea that you might have. And we take that idea, we take that love, that idea that's surrounded with love, and we put some formation around it, we've made some boundaries around it, and we move to Tiferet, which is beauty. This is when we take our ideas, we walk our path of manifestation, and we bring all of our passion, and we bring all of the beauty to it, and we harmonize it. We take the difference and the opposites, if you will, of Chesed and Gevurah, and we harmonize it right through our heart, right through Tiferet of beauty, surrounding all of that which you are creating with beauty. Just feel that for a moment. Think of something in your life that is so incredibly beautiful, and how is it made whole, if you will, by love and by boundaries. And in this work of manifesting, we move to Netzach, which is when the going gets tough, we keep going. Netzach is endurance. This is the time where, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I've been in the desert. I'm wandering. Where's my ice cream? I can't go any farther. And Netzach, endurance, helps us to move and continue to put one foot in front of the other. So take a moment and think in this recent time, maybe today, maybe these past 49 days, what is something that you have endured? We make it through the hardest time. That's that light in the end of the tunnel, all of those metaphors. And we come to Hod, which is splendor, but it's also humility. I love that. This is one of my favorite contradictions. Hod, splendor and humility. The idea of Hod is we've taken our love and we put boundaries around it and harmonized it with beauty, and we have endured. And now we take the humility that is our small lives and the splendor that is our small lives connected to everything that is. And we know that we are important and we matter in this world. We also know that we are but specks of cosmic dust as well. So Hod, splendor and humility. As we're traveling through the tree of life on this path of manifestation, we can't get there alone. So we come to Yesod. Yesod is foundations. I think of it as all of the relationships that support the work, that support our lives. Family, community, the earth, all that which provides our foundation and is the bonds between us. So take a moment and think about some of the bonds that are important to you, your family, your community, your relationship with the earth. And our traveling, we come finally to Shekhinah, or Malchut, which is the lowest sephira on the tree of life. This is God made manifest in the world. It's not God, God's self. It is us bringing the work of God in the world. How do we make the world a better place, a more beautiful place, through our work and through our actions? So take a moment and just find that place within you. Feel some incredible pride about something in your life. Really give it a little love. Think about your work in the world, the work of your hands, of your heart, of your feet, of your mouth. And now surround it with love. Take a moment of just gratitude for that. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes if they're closed. So the invitation, so in each of the 7 weeks, they repeat. So it's the first day of Chesed is Chesed Sheba Chesed. The very, very last day is Shekhinah Sheba Shekhinah. So they rotate all the way through. I have a cool mnemonic to share. Here we go. So it's Chesed Gevura Tiferet. Say it with me. Chesed Gevura Tiferet Netzach Hod Yesod Shekhinah Malchut. So hang on to the Malchut part. So it's choosing gratitude towards nature helps your mind. That's how you can remember. Choosing gratitude towards nature helps your mind. And it rotates, so every day there was one of these that was rotating through. And of course we had Lag Bomer over here with the rose, the 30 Hod Sheba Hod, 33rd day of the Omer, which we celebrated. Woohoo! And so the invitation now is thinking about this past 49 days, whatever it has been to you, The invitation is to go either look at one piece, go look at a week, or stand and take it all in, but find something that calls to you. And just take a bit of a gallery walk. What do you connect with? This idea of love or bonds, discernment or beauty, endurance, splendor, foundations, or Shekhinah. What calls to you? And go just hang out in that week for a little bit. And Ruben, my love, is going to noodle. It's what we're calling it. It's a sacred noodling. And provide a little bit of mandolin just for some energy while we take about, what do I have, 5 minutes? 3 minutes? An hour. Okay, got it. Yes.
Just so in order for you can really enjoy your visual experience of the art, we're going to make this a silent time so that you can really delve into some of these images and enjoy soaking those images in.
Right, and Ruben's going to provide the soundtrack for that. So go on a little walk or sit where you are. Either way, this is some meaning making, some time to just enjoy this journey from Passover to Shavuot. take about another minute on your journey. As you're finishing your journey, I invite you to just stand in front of one of the weeks that really, where the quality of it spoke to you. And let's just see, what was there one that really, not the essence of the energy of the Sephira. And I invite us to give some voice. So for the folks over in loving kindness, I'm not asking like commenting on the art per se, but what around loving kindness, what around of chesed comes to mind? What feels true for you about chesed in the world right now?
The lack thereof.
The lack thereof.
And the importance of making sure we do as much chesed as possible.
Sharing light.
Sharing light. How about the Gevura folks? Got some boundaries and foundations and some discernment. What feels important about Gevura?
That you can still travel and be free even with boundaries.
Yeah, thank you. Our beauty folks, what resonates with beauty in the world? You're backing away. Will you speak? I'll hold my beauty in.
I also see it as balance and the images of balance. I don't always feel imbalance, Mackenzie. So I am resonating with your compositional balance in these pieces. So thank you.
Harmonizing. That's that harmonizing the opposites.
Beauty, balance.
Yeah. How about our endurance folks? Who wants to give some words to enduring right now? Alan, you want to? Yep.
I don't know, living in the city of trees and standing, and when it's winter, you just keep whispering any minute now, as if it will happen any minute now, even though it doesn't happen any minute now.
Yeah, it just seems like the renderings are part of a continuum of just constancy.
Constancy, the earth endures. So we move to Hod, splendor.
I like the one with the girl and the butterfly. She just seems at peace. But I want to say to everybody here, and I'm going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. But all of this that you did is exquisite and meaningful. And I want to thank you for sharing this with us. That took a lot. So thanks.
Thank you. How about you want to speak to Hod?
Sure. Can you remind me? This is one that has two meanings, right?
Splendor
or humility. And that really spoke to me the most with both the butterfly person picture, actually, but specifically this tree with the phases of the moon, because it makes me think of like a family tree and my family that I am both incredibly, incredibly proud of and so happy exists and to be a part of, but also on the scale of like the whole world, like I both feel how small that is, but how huge it is at the same exact time, and feeling both at the same time really comes through in these pieces to me.
Thank you so much. All right, our Yesod people are, Hod?
Yeah, the woman with the butterfly On the 32nd day of the Omer, I see my mother releasing her soul. The 32nd day of the Omer is her yahrzeit.
Thank you. Yesod, there's lots of us here in Foundations Bonds. Who would like to give voice to some Yesod thoughts?
Okay. I was really attracted to the centeredness of the composition in these images. They all seem to have gravity, and I feel like the gravity is like what's keeping us all from just floating off in all the different directions. So I feel that in these.
And I really love in Yesod, Shebe Yesod, this elemental, earthbound, mountain, trees, moon, sun. It's really grounding. Really gets at the core of things.
Yesods? So we travel finally to over here, Shechina Malchut. Anybody want to speak to Spirit made manifest in the world?
Yeah, so with Chesed, talking about how we need more love and recognizing the divinity in ourselves and respecting that and respecting the divinity in everyone else, I think is a way to kind of bring that full circle. And it felt like the culmination of a lot of the different ideas and these different values kind of shining through these, and that's what spoke to me. And when you were talking about being in your mouth, just kind of that breath, right? Like everything starts with breath. It's as easy as breathing. It's just you have to go within and kind of connect to without at the same time.
I just see the Shekhinah, the energy of the divine feminine in these images. There's a lot of circles, there's a lot of green, there's a lot of growth and sense of rebirth. It's very beautiful ending to the piece as a whole. It's an amazing body of work.
I agree about the body. It's beautiful. Embodiment of your spirit and your practice and your devotion to this practice. And I'm drawn to the sense of canopy and perspective that Malhut Shechina brings in all of this, and of course, the nature element and the guiding hands.
So just take a moment wherever you are and again, find your feet. And if you are comfortable closing your eyes for just a moment in front of, whether it's taking in all the whole or in front of the one particular or the Sephira as a whole, and just breathe. Take 3 breaths on your own, honoring this journey from slavery to liberation, the path of the work of bringing Shekhinah into the world. The world is what we make of it and create. The more that we bring love and Shekhinah into the world, the better off we'll be. And one deep breath together and release. Thank you.
Mackenzie, absolutely fabulous. What a fabulous piece of art and leading us in a spiritual place. Thank you. Thank you. And, okay, Rabbi, back to you.
So I'll just note so it looks like there's some reunions happening on the sides in the back. So I'm going to invite you to have a quiet reunion. So I'll just note that, I know this is probably a congregation that is more familiar with Sfirot than some, or at least some of us have got some facility with those terms. But no matter, people just went with it, and the things that people spoke. I mean, this is the idea. Like, you don't have to be You don't have to be a Talmud genius. You don't have to know the Torah backwards and forwards. Beficha uvilvavacha. It's in your mouth and in your heart to do it. This is part of us. This is who we are. This is not someone else's or somewhere else. We're just discovering, and just the visual journey, it's so remarkable. You can engage in visual. You can engage through music, through the sound. You can engage through the text. We're going to look at more text today, of course. But just see if you can be more comfortable with that idea that this isn't somebody else's, that this is yours, and it's always been yours. I said before, you know this, that we are co-sponsoring this with Ma'alot, and we're super excited that the next text, a touchstone text, my most favorite text, I don't know, I'll let you decide whether you want to say that. Rabbi Ariel, is that okay? We want to give you the kavod of going next. Okay.
I'm ready.
Good.
Thanks. I like to gesticulate a lot, though, so I'm going to put this microphone on a stick. So I can freely gesticulate. So I was invited to share a favorite piece of Torah, and my absolute favorite part of Torah is Breshit, Genesis, the creation story. I can't deny it. I know it's so typical. It is the best part of the story, no one can deny. I love the 7 days of creation and rest. I love that we return to that story every week on Shabbat. I love the way that humanity is just part of nature, just emerging in the sequence of things. And I love the first story of creation of the earthling Adam. And if I had to choose a line, it's that line, V'yivra Elohim et ha'adam, and God created the earthling, B'tselem Elohim bara oto, in the image of God, God created him. Zechar u'nekeva bara otam, feminine and masculine, God created them. So there's two things that I love about this line. One is that Adam is from Adama, which is earthling, and it's a reminder of our connection and our source, which is Mother Earth. And the other is that this person, Adam, begins as an androgynous being, Zachar Nekeva, feminine and masculine, and is then separated, a reminder that all of us have feminine and masculine within ourselves, and that gender is fluid and complicated and has many dimensions. But, B'tselem Elohim bara oto. In the image of God, God created him. Adam is still male. Male is the default. And in the second story of creation, it's really explicit. It's like Adam is male, and Chava, Eve, is taken out of his rib, and then the woman is like derived from the first man. So that's always kind of like a sticky part. If I just focus on the Adam, Adama, Malot's all about nature, that's like where I go with it. What I love about Shavuot is that I really believe that revelation is an ongoing process. And there's this concept of us like remembering this moment of Mount Sinai, the mountain of ice cream with candy falling all over it, and reaching back into that moment of reception, and even the concept that all of us were there at Sinai, that our souls are connected to that moment. But also, in every moment since then, Torah has continued to be revealed over and over again. The wisdom that we have now, the texts that we have now, are not just from that time. Like, there's been new ideas created and new texts created and completely new concepts like Kabbalah, like the Sfirot. Like, that is an ongoing process of revelation. And we are all a part of that process. And we all within us in this moment, especially heightened on Shavuot, have the capability to participate in the ongoing process of revelation. So, instead of bringing this Torah that we understand as being received in this moment at Sinai, I decided to bring a new Torah, a new, really receiving a totally new Torah this Shavuot, and it is called Torah Ta. The suffix ta is feminine, what's the word? Possessive. So Torah Ta is her Torah. Torah Ta is a project of regendering the Torah. All of the gendered characters in the Torah have been reversed. So the story centers instead on a matriarchal lineage, and in contrast to the patriarchal lineage of the Torah. And everything is reversed. So God is now feminine, the first being is feminine, and the male characters in the Torah are really concerned about procreation and their status in that role, and so everything's reversed. The project was initiated by artist Yael Kanarek in 2016. And then she was joined by Tamar Biala, a scholar from Jerusalem, and in 2020 they published Torah Ta. And Kanarek, who's really like the creator of this, her artistry is really about storytelling and translation, and she uses language to reshape cultural assumptions. And she believes that the Torah is a consciousness and an identity-building narrative, and that by switching the genders around, we can challenge some of our assumptions about what it means to be part of this tradition. So there's a website, Beit Torah Ta, that has all of the Torah translated in Hebrew. Some of the books are in English. And they've also had a soferet, a female scribe out Torah Ta. So it's literally written on a Torah scroll, and there's some images of it on the website too. So it's really a beautiful thing. I really dove into it this week, and just the experience of reading through it, and you'll get a chance to later, if that's the text you choose, to read through this regendered Torah. And I brought the creation story, but I kind of started when the action starts, like with the snake and all of that. I think that's like a really juicy part. And I'm actually not going to talk about it. I'm going to let you kind of uncover like what it's like to read that part. But I just want to share a little bit of Torah about the new first earthling, Chova. So Chova comes from the word Chavaya. Well, it's connected to Chava, which is the Hebrew word for Eve, but it comes from Chovaya, which means experience. So instead of the first being made from earth, earthling, the first being is she experiences. And every person that is descendant from this first being is of the lineage of Chova. And she has a primary relationship with Tehovah Elohim. Hin makes Elohim feminine, Elohim. And the Tehovah is about, the meaning behind Tehovah is there's a commentary that Kanarek creates about the future and the present combined. The Taf is kind of the future. Hova is from the root of the name for God, H-He Yud He. And so there's this kind of new feminine name for God that's rooted in our understanding of what God is in the tradition. So as you read through the story, now featuring Chova and her partner, Adam, well, actually, Adam has a new name that you'll find out, because everyone's renamed to be like the masculine or feminized name of that word. I invite you just to consider How are you experiencing the story that you may be familiar with now that it's regendered? Are there things that you're noticing that you never noticed before? Are there new pieces that are coming to light in the story? What feels different to you as you're reading it? And to think about the difference in the main character now, the main human character being one who experiences, and how that understanding of our first person and us being descendants and humanity coming from one who experiences might shift your understanding of our origin story. So that's all I got. Yeah.
Each of the Torah speakers are going to leave you with some questions. So you just heard Rabbi Ariel leave us with some questions about a feminized Torah. As you listen to our next speakers, think of what sparks that in what their comments spark in you, because you will have an opportunity to discuss that. So I would now like to introduce Cliff Trammell to come and talk with us about what he finds fascinating in the Torah.
Shalom, chaverim, and hey, friends online, hi, or wherever the camera is, hey. It's good to be with you, and I feel like whenever I'm asked to speak, the universe targets me and forces me to learn the hardest lessons of my journey. So I would like to see who would like to volunteer for next time. But really, when I sat and thought, like, what in the world can I talk about, especially when I'm asked to share one Torah verse that I love? Because I was a kid that had a hard time going to Baskin-Robbins and picking out the ice cream flavor. You should have seen me picking my outfit tonight. So it was difficult to pick one verse from the Torah to think, like, what can I share that really lights me up and connects me? And what is the Torah? And to walk into the stillness that you created, Mackenzie, with that art was such Torah for me. Thank you. It's been a lot going on. And some of what I would like to offer to discuss is a conversation later in our group, whoever would like to be a part of it. And it's to discuss this one particular text from the Tehillim 94:18, and it's, if I said my foot is slipping, your loving kindness upholds me. And when I dove into the understanding, yes. Psalms, book of Psalms. So I wanted to explore this one word because I thought, let's start at the very beginning. Chesed. And that's where we begin our journey with Shavuot. And so I thought we could end there with the discussion of how do we arrive back in a place of chesed, which when I think from an anthropological perspective of cultural constructs of thought and society, it's the ceremonies and rituals and rites of passage that reflect the values of any kinship system, of any group of people. And when we look at the holidays of what our ancestors held out as in significance and important, it gives us deep insight into the heart of what it means to be a Jew today. Because we're not harvesting grain. I'm fresh out of it. I stopped to get some sushi on the way, but I'm bringing no barley, no wheat. But we do have chesed. We do have loving kindness that we can nurture among the garden of our own hearts as a community here. And I love that, Rabbi Ariel, you shared about Bereshit, of the first story in the creation of the beginning of all things, because the Abyssal Torah that I wanted to share with you is about the letter Bet. And when I was a kid, I'm learning all the Aleph Bet, we hear all the stories, but something that has always stayed with me in my heart of how to build a house, how to build a Beit, how to build, when you think of like all the names we could be called, there's Am Yisrael, the people of Israel. There's Beit Yisrael. There's Bnei Yisrael. There's all these different Yisrael. But Beit Yisrael is really significant to me because what stands out about this Beit is what makes a house a home. So I want to talk about the loving kindness that is the seed of the beginning of our nation's formation of drawing people out of the narrow places into chesed. And when I think about, wow, that was an amazing myth of like, we're dancing with tambourines, or, you know, we're out there doing it with Miriam and all the ladies jamming all night. But then a wilderness journey begins. But it starts with this first piece of chesed. So what I'd love to share as a community is how can we return back to Beit Chaverim, especially with all the changes we have navigated as a community in the last few years. And I believe that the very essence of our name is within the spirit of our community. It's Chaverim. So I'd like to discuss of how we can support one another as our feet slip and as we fall. And just for fun and to tease you a little bit, I'd like to open up just a quick popcorn. What is something, an act of loving kindness that someone did for you that really changed your life or your day? Maybe it doesn't have to be like they jumped in front of a bus, but anybody, I promise you'll be glad you did. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, thank you.
Texted me and said, Eve, you don't want it that close to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Texted me and said, even though I hate the way you make spaghetti, do you have everything you need to make it?
Word, okay. For the encouragement, here you go. I'm gonna give you a little bit of this. Boom. Here you go. It's not too late. You can still do a good job, make that meal. All right, any other encouraging things somebody, yes.
So I had promised my good friend Zahava that I was going to bring her here, but I rushed here and left a message for her that she would have to come on her own. And she was so gracious and loving with me that when I got here and was full of apologies, she said, "It's okay." And she made me feel like it was okay.
Really sweet. Okay, so that makes me, yeah, this is perfect for y'all's message. And don't give up. We're all in it together. It's okay. So I want to talk about how we encourage each other. We're going to dive into the meaning of chesed, how it can be the heart of not just your life, but the life of our shul and our community. That's what I got. We'll have some peel pool, which is a technical term for sharp analysis. It comes from the Hebrew pil pel. So we're going to have some sparring and some banter back and forth and sharing of ideas to have peppery conversation. And I hope you'll join me because we're going to sing too.
I do want it. Okay, because we're in it together. We are in this together.
This is mine now.
Yes, it is. These are sounding very interesting. I can't decide already which group I want to go into. One of the most active members of Torah study, who always has some interesting comments to add to our Tuesday Torah study, is Rabbi Stoddard. And I wanted to invite her to come and share some of her thoughts.
All right, so I wrote mine down so that I would stay within the time limit, number one, because if I don't have it written down, then we'll be here all night. Secondly, because of the nature of the story here, I did use largely masculine pronouns for these things, which normally I don't. But I invite you to, if you would like, envision the main characters here, Abraham and Adonai mostly, as female, and how that changes this story and this piece of Torah for you. Okay, so for tonight, I chose Genesis 18:27, which, is it my favorite story? No, it's, Sodom and Gomorrah. Who likes that? But at the sheets that I gave you, it's at the top there. And there's a bit of a dip into Sanhedrin 37 of the Talmud, which I do not have for you, but we'll get into it also. The rest of the stories... Do people have this text? They have the Genesis text, not the bit of... Is it over there? Yes, there should have been a handout with it, which hopefully you got, if you didn't. There's only 12 copies of each text, I think. Oh, dear.
No. Should say prepared by group. Got it.
Is this for the workshop? I mean, for like the conversation afterwards, or anything about now? Yeah, either one or whatever. You can look at it, but you can have it for the thing later. Basically, The story around Sodom and Gomorrah, fairly well known, but this line interests me the most for what it says and what it doesn't say. The line is, and forgive my pronunciation, Vayan Avraham Vayomar, Hine na ho'oti ladaver el Adonai, va'anoki afar v'efer, which is, Abraham spoke up saying, here I venture to speak to my Lord, I who am but dust and ashes. So consider that you're Abraham here. At this point in the story, he's actually already ventured to speak, and very stridently. Adonai has said, oh, I'm going to wipe out all of Sodom and Gomorrah for their purported wickedness, and you, as Abraham, immediately call Adonai practically out of his name. You say things like, you forbid instead of God forbid. You say, far be it from you to wipe away the Zadik, the righteous, with the Rasha, the evildoers. You've questioned Adonai's judgment and his nature as a judge. You are speaking truth to power here. And Adonai agrees. He says, okay, for the sake of 50 righteous ones, I won't destroy these people. So consider how Abraham feels right then. He's convinced God on his point. Pretty good? Pretty big? Probably. And yet all of a sudden he realizes, oh God, I've just called out God here. I'm way out on a limb. I'm exposed. I'm out of my element. I have taken this huge risk for strangers, for theoretical innocent people who may not even exist here. I got some chutzpah, okay. So what does Abraham do next? He asks again on behalf of, okay, but what if 40? But he acknowledges what he's doing, and he adds the line, V'anoki afar ve'efer, though I am but dust and ashes. Now change gears. Consider the perspective of Adonai in this moment. Now Adonai, at the beginning of this, goes, do we even want to bring this up to Abraham? I don't know. He's got stuff. Maybe I shouldn't let him know this, because he knows that Abraham is going to challenge his judgment. But he brings it up to him anyway. Because Adonai also knows that this moment in the Torah doesn't come before something or after something. All Torah is happening at the same time with everything else that'll happen. So through Tanakh and through Midrash and through Torah and the other books that Rabbi Mike is going to explain a little later. So Adonai isn't surprised that Abraham keeps pushing him. But I like to think that what surprises him is that Abraham says, I am but dust and ashes, and then he stops there and doesn't say anything else. Because what Adonai also knows is that when the Talmud is written, in Sanhedrin 37, there's a discussion of why the destruction of one life is like the destruction of the whole world. And in that discussion is the phrase, therefore every person must say, Bishvili nivra ha'olam, for my sake the world was created. So the Hasid Rabbi Senchabunim, who I think we already heard a story from him earlier, he lived in Poland in the 18th century, and he said that each of us should carry a note in our pockets. And in your left pocket, the note should say, I am but dust and ashes, from Genesis. And in your right pocket, it should say, for my sake, the world was created. I'm actually really glad that Mackenzie did the Sephirot here, because this reading is a bit like a balance beam with your Hod and your Nesak and your Chesed and your Gevra. If you've seen the tree of the Sephirot, they're balanced. And here, these two phrases are to remind us that we exist at the balance between these two truths. And from this place of balance, we can speak truth to power, as long as power cares about being just, without becoming part of the destructive problem. In what Abraham does not say, Adonai can remember why he, her, them, Elohim, created the world in the first place. That for this creation and the potential of this destruction, Adonai is responsible. It was not done for Adonai's sake. It was done for Abraham's and for all of the people in the world. In this space, Adonai listens, all the way down to, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy them. Since we are just humans, miraculously humans, we're all sometimes like Abraham in this situation, and sometimes like Adonai. So think now of when you have or should have brought something unpleasant or uncomfortable to an authority, when they were going to do something unjust. And think also of when someone had to come and speak to you about something you were doing wrong or might have done wrong, or that was unfair, where you were the decision maker or appeared to be, where you were the responsible party here. Try to hold these things at arm's length, like you're walking on a tightrope, and they're balanced at opposite ends of the pole. Like you're Yesod, and you've got Hod and Netzach on each side, or Chesed and Gevurah, the choice between stern judgment and loving kindness. Can you hold this balance? I am but dust and ashes, and yet for my sake the whole world was created. Which is harder to carry? Which is heavier? Which is scarier? Can you hold this balance? And that's what I've done.
Wow, thanks to all three of you. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. So you already see that when we say beficha uvilvavacha, that it's in your mouth and in your heart, that it's the same Torah, but the mouths and the hearts are different, right? That doesn't mean we're all the same. And we've just heard three beautiful interpretations, and of course we're seeing a visual interpretation. A lot of us are used to feeling like dust and ashes when it comes to Jewish text, because we don't know. Some of us, I don't want to insult anyone, but a lot of us, or at least I hear as the rabbi, like, oh, I don't know. I said that before. So I want to empower you to feel a little bit more like, for my sake, the world was created. And so we're going to, I know you want to, what time is it right now? I don't see a clock. 7:45. All right. So let's see what I can do to get us back on schedule. We'll see how it goes. I just want you to know, I think this was one of the goals that we set out for today, was to feel more comfortable that again, this is yours, that it's part of you and it's in you. So think about this as partly what are my books? Like what are my touchstone texts? Partly how the Jewish, how a bill becomes a law, right? Like how do we get to where we're at now? And partly Torah's fun. There's all sorts of stuff, and it doesn't have to be scary. So I want to start with, first of all, this page. If you have the sheet that was the packet that started out with what's that? This is so helpful. All right, I got one. There we go. Okay, notice, it hasn't changed a lot. This is 1975, Keeping Posted, volume 20, number 4. Yeah? This was, I think this was like a youth conservative magazine, conservative movement magazine. Notice on the top, it says, the Torah. And someone read where it says the Torah in the scroll that looks like a Torah. Anyone? Somebody take a microphone.
Torah, shebichtav, the written law. According to tradition, the Torah was given to Moses on Sinai, who transmitted it to Joshua, who transmitted it to the elders, who transmitted it to the prophets, and then eventually it was transmitted to the Sanhedrin.
So you're already getting a little rabbinic gloss on that. But the Torah, if you come to a Brit Mitzvah service, if you're in we've got Tanakh is the Bible. Here it is. This belongs to this synagogue. So you can know. Tanakh, T stands for Torah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. We've talked about the 5 books. N in Tanakh stands for Nevi'im. Here's your table of contents if you ever just pick this up. Nevi'im, you'll see Joshua, Judges, Samuel. These are prophets. Yeah, Deborah's a prophet. There are lady prophets too, just so you know. And Ketuvim, we heard Cliff's most favorite verse was from Psalms. Psalms is in the Ketuvim. It's the everything else. It's the kosher salami of Bible. It's all the stuff that was left over, and the rabbis were like, we got to include that. So you've got Psalms, Proverbs, Book of Esther. Yeah? Okay. This is all Bible. We don't call it the Old Testament, by the way, because that implies there's a new and improved model, which, not for us. Jesus was a nice boy. He always brought fish, and that's not nothing. All right, Mishnah. Who wants to tell us about the Mishnah?
Codification and collection of Torah Shebaal Peh. Shebaal Peh. Oral law transmitted by word of mouth over generations, compiled by Rabbi Judah and his court around 160 to 200 CE in Palestine.
You said the P word. Oh my goodness. Used to be called Palestine. Some people still call it that. All right. Mishnah is about 2,000 years old. And I've got a set of Mishnah. This belongs to the synagogue also. It's codified. Yehuda Hanasi writes this down. Did he create it? Did he write it himself? Did he collect it? Did it come from Sinai? The rabbis say it came from Mount Sinai along with the rest of the Torah. So here's the first of 6 orders. This is Zeraim, seeds. It has to do with agriculture. You know, we're an agricultural people. Yeah, so that's there. Okay, so now we're up to 2,000 years ago. All right, then we've got Gemara. And in the interest of time, I'm going to just ask someone to read Babylonian Gemara.
Compilation of the commentary on the Mishnah by scholars in the Babylonian academies, approximately end of the 5th century. This is much larger and more significant than the Jerusalem Gemara. Together with the Mishnah, this forms the Babylonian Talmud.
Thank you. So if you put Mishnah and put around it another shell, right? If you think of Torah as the center, and then around it is the Mishnah, and then around that is Gemara, then you get this, which is what this looks like, which some of you know looks like a traditional page of Gemara, traditional page of Talmud. It's about actually from the 15 or 1600s. But you've got some text in here, and then you've got Rashi, and then you've got commentators around it, arguing with each other. Yeah? These are not all agreeing. Yeah? You've got rabbinic arguments that happen in Talmud. Happen in Mishnah too, but in Gemara they go into hyperdrive. And I'm going to have you go to, somebody read where it says Mishnah, Torah, and Shulchan Aruch. Yeah? Read those two. We got on the bottom right and in the middle. Can somebody volunteer to read that? They're small. Anyone should say yes. Say yes.
Yes. Mishnah Torah by Maimonides, the Rambam, Egypt, 12th century. And Shulchan Aruch, Code by Joseph Caro, Palestine, 16th century. Anything else?
All right, so you see in the back there's all these brown books. The blue ones on the right are Mishnah. You say, this is Mishnah Torah? Is that the same thing? Well, you said there's a Torah and there's a Mishnah, and now there's a Mishnah Torah? I don't like this, Mike. This is not going well for me. So Mishnah is a repetition, right? So why is this called Mishnah? Because it's a recounting, a repeating of the arguments from about 2,000 years ago, right? They teach each other through talking, the oral Torah, right? Mishnah Torah, the reason this is called Mishnah Torah is Maimonides is very modest. Mishnah, in addition to repeating, means second, right? If you repeat something a second time. So he's saying this is the second Torah. Very modest, the Rambam, Maimonides. And he says, this is all you need. If you don't want to study, there are 63 tractates of Talmud, oy, oy, oy. If you're a busy Jew, you got to get to Pilates, you got stuff going on, just read all of my Mishnah Torah, and you'll be fine. It's the comprehensive law code. No one, ask for it by name, right? What's that? It's like the Cliff Notes, except you see how many. It's the Yod, it's 14, Yud and Dalet. So this, right. This here, and I actually don't have all of them, but this is your Mishnah Torah. Just read that. Try your first volume, Kitchens and Bathrooms. If you like it, others will follow. No, that's something else. So and that's a bunch of laws, right? You have law codes that are built up around Talmud. And I want to take you on a journey to see if this makes any sense in practice. So if I could have some folks hand out this. It says, here, thank you. It says on the top, Tanakh and Torah and Talmud and Mishnah and Midrash, because they all sound alike, right? Or half of them sound like one thing and half of them sound like another. Okay, so how does a bill become law? How does Torah turn? I'm just a bill sitting here. How does a text turn into practice? What we call halakha. Has anyone heard the word halakha or halacha? Yeah, what is halakha? It's the law, Jewish law. It actually, though, you've heard of lech lecha, right? Get up and go, Abraham says way in the beginning. Lech lecha, halach. Halakha is moving, right? So the idea, notice me moving, the idea of halakha is that it keeps moving, right? It's Chaim, it's a tree of life. It's not the Old Testament. It's not some old relic. It moves. It grows, right? So how does it grow? All right. So I'm going to give you another way of looking at some of the things we've already said. Okay. Tanakh. You've already looked at Tanakh. Let's take Shabbat, which we get a few different times, 36 actually, in the 5 books. Would you read? No? No. Chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. Start with Torah.
Remember the day of Shabbat to sanctify it. Work 6 days and do all your labor. But the 7th day is the Shabbat of Adonai your God. Don't do any labor. You, your son, your daughter, your servant, your handmaid, your cattle, or your traveler in your gates. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth and sea and all that is in them, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore Adonai blessed the 7th day and made it sacred.
Okay. You got one there. I'll take that one. Okay, what'd you get from that? That the women don't get the rest. Women don't. Does seem to be gendered, yeah. Yeah. Your daughter. Doesn't say wife. Your cow. Your cow should rest. Tell your cow to stop going through the classifieds. It's enough already. What do you get from this general sense? Yeah? Take a break. Take a break on Shabbos. Don't work. On Shabbat. Don't work. What does that mean? Resting is good. Okay, I like that. Well, what if I have some more questions? I want to take a pause here. Not halakha. You may have heard the word midrash. That's another M word. How many M words are there? I feel like there's too many. Mishnah and Mishnah Torah, and now there's midrash. Oh my goodness. Can I really learn this? Yes, you can. All right, who wants to read? Midrash is, the word drash is in there, right? It's a story or a legend made up around the Torah. Abraham and the idols, smashing the idols, is a midrash. That's not in the Torah. It's a story that the rabbis and the teachers will tell about the text. Right, so this is from a compendium called Genesis Rabbah. Rabbah means big. So the big group of stories around Genesis.
Rabbi Yehuda HaNasias, Rabbi Yishma Bar Yossi, did you hear from your father what is meant by God rested on the 7th day? It's a wonder. Does God really need to rest? Rather, what was created once God rested? Peacefulness, rest, tranquility, and quiet.
Nice. Lovely. Mad snaps. Yeah, so a midrash A midrash is going to stop and say, hold on, I'd like to talk about this for a second. Let's talk about some stories. Yeah? So Yehuda Hanasi, by the way, who compiled the Mishnah, is in this midrash. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, he asked Rabbi Yishmael Bar Yossi, hey, I just want to know, did you ever talk to your dad about this? Because he was a smart guy. Did you ever talk to him about God rested on the seventh day? That seems wondrous to me. That seems crazy. Like God works? God is like sweating? God needed a break? Right? Notice this is a story, right? This isn't what are the laws around Shabbat, right? What hour do I stop? Is it when the sun is crested over or the sun is touching, or the bottom of the sun, or the top of the sun, right? You know those kinds of, right? That's halacha. This is midrash, right? Hey, I don't get that. Why would God need a rest? God isn't sweaty. This seems crazy to me. And then the answer comes back, no. Rather, instead, no, it's something was created when God rested. God created peacefulness and tranquility, and that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and it's nowhere in here. That's not here, right? That's a midrash, right? Take the Torah and tell some stories around it. Make some legends, yeah? Why does Abraham have to leave his home? Why can't he just start a new religion in Ur? Well, his father was an idol maker. That's what I heard. That's a midrash. That's not in here, yeah? Okay, that's midrash. Let's go back to Mishnah. This is something you've already seen. Okay. Don't work on Shabbat, yeah?
How is midrash different from commentary?
So commentary is an English word. A commentary could be either midrashic or halachic, right? It could be a story, right? El Narafan Allah, whoever is in need, we pray for them. It could be a story. How did the women all know the same song when they went out from Egypt, and they all took their timbrels and they all said, the same Micha Mocha? How'd they all know the words? Well, a spirit moved through them. That's a midrash, right? It could be, okay, well, on what day do we slaughter the Passover sacrifice? It's got to be this day because these two verses match each other. That's a halachic commentary. And so, right? So notice the difference, though. One is about law, one is a story. One is definitive, get to the ruling. One is expansive. God created rest and peacefulness. Oh, I got another midrash. Oh, yeah? Give me another swig of that. I'll tell you a midrash I know. Yeah, that's bigger, right? That goes, not that I don't love halacha, and we're going to look at it, but one's sort of focusing you and one is expanding you. Yeah, okay. Let's go to the second side. Okay. Don't work. Don't work. God doesn't want you to work. I better not work. What does work mean? No, what does work mean? Dragging a chair? Going through the classifieds? Opening a window? Is that work? Is it sweaty? What do I do? Mishnah Shabbat has an answer for you. So I want to read from Mishnah Shabbat 7, Halacha 2. Anyone?
This fundamental Mishnah enumerates those who perform the primary categories of labor prohibited on Shabbat. Which number? 40 less 1.
Okay. There are 39 categories of work that are prohibited on Shabbat. You wanted to know? These are the numbers. 39. And I'm going to list them all. I didn't list them all for you. Okay, that was an answer, right? Halacha coming to an answer, right? Interesting. Why do I need to know that? Yeah, Rabbi.
But why is it 40 less 1 and not simply 39?
Would you like to give us an answer?
40 etymologically means a great many.
And?
So it's almost a great many.
And what does that mean to you?
It means you can't quite get there. You can't quite get all of them.
Meaning?
There's always more to find.
which is a beautiful midrash. Did you notice that was a midrash, right? That was not, this is the answer. That was a beautiful story. Why would they say 40 minus 1 instead of 39? Great rabbinic question, and you got a great rabbinic answer. Big and beautiful, right? And you're going to see in the Gemara, which is the next shell, right? You've got Torah, then you've got Mishnah, then you've got Gemara. Why do I need to know this list? Why do I need a list of 39 things? Whoops, prohibited. Well, Rabbi Yochanan says, to teach that if you performed all of the prohibited labors in the course of one lapse of awareness, if there's something where you got a 39 and 1 sin, I guess, then you're liable for each and every one. There's your narrow, right? You have to bring a sacrifice, a sin offering for each one of those. That's a halachic ruling, right? That's a narrow, like, what do you know? That's an important thing. You better know it. Yeah? That's Rabbi Yochanan for you. Yeah? Okay. I'm going to throw in some more text from Leviticus. This is going back to the core. Keep my Shabbatot and be in awe of my mikdash, my holy space. I am Adonai. They built a mikdash in the wilderness, right, as they traveled. What do we get from that? Here's the Gemara wants to build off of that, right? The Torah at the core, the Gemara is the bigger, the outer shell. Can someone just read that? One is liable.
One is liable only for a labor similar to one that was done in the Mishkan.
Okay, so why are there 39, 40 minus 1? It must be that they're connected because of this word, my mikdash, my holy place, more M words. It's the dwelling place of God that they built in the wilderness and that they're ultimately going to build in the temple. And those 39 categories are the categories of labor you're not supposed to do, right? This is Pilpul, right? That's why there's 39 categories. Wow. Wow good or wow bad? Wow good. Okay. Some people say, oh yeah, this is what they talk about all day. Yeah, that could be your answer. It's okay. It's okay, right? I'm going to add one more thing and then we'll stop. Is Shabbat the most important thing all the time? Some people say, if the Jew, I have somebody already shaking their head, right? There are some people that teach, if all the Jews kept Shabbat all together as an entire nation, 2 Shabbats in a row, then the Messiah would come. So important. They're laughing. I guess you don't believe. It's what? Because they're Jews, it's funny. Okay, you say it's not the most important thing. You ought to tell me your name. I'm not sure. Yudit. And why is Shabbat not the absolute most important thing?
Because to save a life.
To save a life trumps, you'll forgive the term, Shabbat. Are you sure? How do you know that? You looked at the page. Okay. Let's look at the text. This is going to be fun. This one is fun, I think. Leviticus. Go back to Leviticus. Yeah, this is the last thing we'll look at, and then we'll have cheesecake. Okay, hold on. And singing. Let me put my glasses on. Okay. Ushmartem et chukotai et mishpatai. Keep my laws and statutes. A person shall do them and live by them. Oh, that seems like I know what that means, right? You do mitzvahs and you live by them. Nice. What do the rabbis add? In Tractate Yoma, which is about Yom Kippur, interestingly enough. Live by them means not die by them. Meaning, saving a life takes precedence over other mitzvahs. Look what the rabbis did for us. If by keeping Shabbat, if I don't pick up a phone, I'm gonna die of a disease, God forbid, right? Pick up a phone, right? Whether or not we believe using a phone is breaking Shabbat, right? And the Shulchan Aruch, which is the 16th century law code, that's the last thing that we looked at in the other sheet, right? Yosef Karo, who was a rabbi before he was corn syrup. Yeah. All right, read this. It is a religious precept. At the very bottom.
It is a religious precept to desecrate the Sabbath for any person afflicted with an illness that may prove dangerous. He who is zealous is praiseworthy, while he who asks questions sheds blood.
Okay. It is a what do we say? A religious precept to break Shabbos. It's an obligation to break Shabbat. You just told me it was the most important thing, and if we all do it together, then the Messiah is coming. Well, you got to break it, because Shlomo's in the street with the severed finger. Get him to a hospital, right? You got to get him. You got to get him something, right? It's a religious priest. Sorry. Yeah.
Like a little pill pull, right? Okay, so somebody is going to die, and you're busy keeping Shabbat. If you're so busy keeping Shabbat that the person dies, that person can't observe Shabbat the next week, right? Okay.
This is a wise student right here. Yeah. By the way, and I love this from Caro, if you are zealous for life, you're praiseworthy. If you screw around and ask questions, is he really bleeding? How much is he bleeding? Is he bleeding a lot? Right? You're the one shedding blood. You're the one shedding blood, God forbid. Right?
Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, very, very conservative Orthodox rabbi, 20th century, was asked a question, if a doctor gets a call from the hospital on Shabbat, of course he goes. Everyone agrees. But is he then permitted to travel back home? Because travel on Shabbat is forbidden. And Reb Moshe replied, strictly we should forbid it. But if we did, he might be disinclined to go in the first place, therefore we permit.
And by the way, Moshe Feinstein is probably the last authoritative rabbi so far of Judaism. Judaism has splintered into so many different sects. Even the Orthodox world, I don't think there's one Orthodox rabbi who the Orthodox world would accept, right? But that's the progression here, right? So you get the bottom, it says other codes and commentaries, right? That's where we're at. We're at the other. We're in other, right? But I want you to, I don't expect you immediately to feel comfortable and know everything and just bop around and open stuff. But I want you to know that it's yours. Again, why are Jews so interested in the law? Sometimes they even say we're good at being lawyers, right? Because we want to know what's the ruling. And we're also creative. We've got a midrashic tradition, right? You might say, yeah, that we're people of the book. Some people have said that, right? So these books are yours. They belong to you. You've got a Tanakh. You've got a Mishnah. You've got a Talmud. You've got Midrash here, legends. You've got law codes. And here's Moses. I don't know why he's white, but what are you going to do? And he's got some friends I put on there, right? So these books are available. You can, if you want to know, where do I start to find X, Y, and Z, just ask me. If you want to just crack open one of them, you like it, you don't like it, yell at it, yell at me, do whatever you want, put it down, pick up another one. It's in your mouth and in your heart. I hope this is the beginning of a journey that gets us to know that these books, this tradition was created for our sake, in the words of Rabbit.
That was fascinating. Thank you. Thank you. I have wanted to know those things all the time, so thank you for that. Thank you. And now, without a whole lot of further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Rebecca Larry Safon, and she's going to lead us in some chanting, and then we get dairy.
Yes, I stand between you and cheesecake. Okay. So thank you, Mackenzie, for spreading out in front of us in all this glory, this journey that we have all been on, maybe some of us, maybe all of us, as we have prepared ourselves to receive the Torah. You can pass those out. We have gone through loving kindness to strength, from beauty to endurance, from awe through humility to our very foundation and the root of this tree of life. We've looked at how these qualities have intersected in our thoughts, our actions, in our bodies, and in our breath. we have made ourselves ready to receive the tree of life. The Zen master tells a story about a person who comes to him for knowledge, and that person is so full of himself that he can't take anything else in. And the Zen master says, you have to empty your teacup in order to fill it with more tea. So we have to create some space in order to be able to take in what's coming. All of this incredible knowledge that we've been hearing about tonight and that we'll be talking about, we need to create some space. So I'm going to teach you a chant, and then I'm going to take you into a little bit of a quiet meditation. It's the M word, but we're just going to get a little quiet and do a little breathing. And then we're going to come back into the chant, and we're going to touch on the pieces that resonate most for us. And through this process, we will be preparing ourselves first for cheesecake and then for the light. So there are little papers going around. This is a beautiful chant by Batya Levine, and I'm bringing you just the beginning part. Okay. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. A few more times. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. Okay, let's practice. Take a moment to feel your feet on the ground, our base, the earth from which our roots can grow to bring us tall and strong. Begin to notice the feeling of your breath as it enters your body, your breath as it exits your body. Let the breath help you to sit a little taller in your seat. Let the breath help you to settle a little more deeply into your support, the ground beneath you. Breathing between earth and sky. We are the conduits. Now begin to bring your breath right into the center of your heart. Sometimes it's called the cave of the heart, an opening, a place that we can draw into. So bring your breath right into your heart space. Feel it light up. And then begin to expand that breath, expanding the energy of your heart space, making it bigger and bigger. Letting it extend all the way down into the ground like roots. Letting those roots go deep and spread wide. We are all connected by these roots. Draw the energy up through the trunk into heart center and out through your branches and up through the crown of your head, creating space, creating the canopy of your tree, reaching out, reaching up, expanding. We'll take several breaths right here in this place, breathing between earth and sky. And then when I come back in with the chant, I invite you to join me and maybe focus on the words in the chant that are most resonant to you. So I may be singing, "May I be open," and you may be singing, "The light, the light, the light, receive, open." And we'll create an orchestration. Let's take a few breaths. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. Take your journey. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. Let's all take a breath together and release it with a sigh. One more just like that. Inhale, open up, and release it. Thank you.
We will have various groups meeting in different rooms, so let's take about, I would say, 20 minutes.
I just realized, is there anyone who came to say Kaddish? Because we never did that. No?
I think we're good. All right, let's take about 20 minutes for you to enjoy dairy. But before you get up and leave, the rabbi will be having an open discussion in the rabbi's office. There will be a discussion with Rabbi Ariel on her piece in this room. And for those of you on Zoom, you can participate in that discussion. There will be a discussion with Cliff, and Cliff's group will meet in the director's office. And there will be a discussion for Rabbit, and your group will meet with some chairs in the lobby area. Okay? See you in about 20 minutes. Enjoy all of the wonderful dairy that has been brought to you.
give the introduction, stand here, and then everyone's going to go off in their chavrutas, and Zoom can pair up, and these people can pair up.
Okay, so
That's
put
the
them
whole thing.
put them into their own breakout room.
If they're even all present, I mean, there's only the three of them should probably just, there's only three of them, so they'll just pair up together.
Okay. All right.
Actually, wait, there's 5 participants.
Well, it's really 3 plus us.
Okay, the other 2 are us. Okay, great. So the 3 of them can chavruta.
Could you do that? All right, perfect.
Sometimes I question if we should have the separation of diagnoses for ADHD and autism because the Venn diagram is nearly a circle with some estimates being as high as 80% morbidity rate. So at what point do you start to just say, and sometimes ADHD is a symptom of autism, right? Especially as our understanding of autism is so limited, the DSM-5 is still so limited in its scope, and I think recently it's having an update where it kind of starts to mention like, oh, and sometimes it looks different. Are you not until Rabbi Ariel's session? We were escaping sensory overload. It was a bit loud at the front. From Brando, I know. Well, I have been deputized to leave this apparently one of her. I think your granddaughter's having needs to go home. After every single person did the introduction, I was like, oh, great, that's the one. I know, I'm the same way. Oh my gosh.
Well, hey, everybody in, I wonder if they need, in Zoom land. Paul and Betsy, I don't know if we need this. I'm going to put it up for now.
Does it work? Oh, hey. It works. It's so tall. Ooh. No.
Who need to use this?
Are Paul and Betsy there? Are you present on Zoom?
Hi, Paul. Hi, Betsy.
Yes. Can you hear her? Yes.
I see Betsy's turned green
Yes.
for a second there, but we didn't hear anything. Well, we're gonna break up into pairs, Paul and Betsy. So if you guys want to partner in Chavruta pair study on the Torah Ta text, that's what this room is up to.
But I don't think they're there. I can't tell if they're there. Oh, Betsy unmuted.
Betsy unmuted, so Betsy's there. Yeah. Oh, welcome, Betsy. I'll stand here. Now you can see me. All right. I'm just going to introduce it, and then we're gonna partner up. So if someone wants to partner with, actually, I don't think I can hear Betsy, but maybe Paul will show up and can partner with you, Betsy. Yeah. So welcome, everyone, to Torah Ta Study. Thank you. Yeah, I introduced it like an hour and a half ago. I don't know if you remember so much about it, but it's interesting to think that the Torah, the Bible, has been translated into hundreds of languages, but this is the first time that it's ever been regendered in this way, which is in kind of another type of translation. So it's very exciting I think it's a really exciting time to be Jewish, when there's things like this that are being created that are really like flipping assumptions and accepted models on their head. But to engage in this text, we're going to rely on a very traditional form of study, which is called Chavruta, from the root chaver, which means friend, which is just partnering up with one person to explore a text together. Part of the function of chavruta is to bring your own personal insights, experiences, feelings to a text. So when you are partnering up, feel free to say, this makes me think of X. A way to help engage your chavruta in experiencing and learning texts is to say, can you tell me more about why you said that? Or to say, I wonder if this could mean X or Y, and really dig deeper and come to different ideas with curiosity. So I'll invite you now to find a chavruta or two chavrutas, depending on how things are shaken out. And to dive into this text, there's 3 guiding questions that you can feel free to refer to help you chart your path, but you're also welcome to just explore the text as you and your chavruta feel called. There's 5. And Betsy, maybe someone can partner with Betsy. Although, Betsy, can you talk? Let's see if we can hear you.
You can hear me.
We can hear you.
Oh, you can? Oh.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Audrey, would you partner with Betsy?
Hi, Betsy. I wonder if there's a way. Oh. I wonder if there's a way to. Where am I? No, wait. I feel like I want my face to be. Hold on, I'm getting further. Where is the camera? Oh, nice. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm.
She's washing your hands now. So we're doing pairs.
Okay. Betsy, do you have the text?
I don't.
You do not?
No.
Okay, I'm not really hearing.
I don't.
I'm wondering if maybe we could just you could.
Maybe you could.
Oh. Okay. Apparently, it's been sent to you in the chat.
I know. I tried to open it, and it won't open.
Wait, I can't.
You hear me?
Hi, Atina. Nice to meet you.
Hear me?
Not sure how this is going to work. I'm not hearing you well, but I think.
I don't want to stop you from being able to be actively engaged.
Oh, hang on just a second. Oop. Ooh. Trying to raise the volume.
Gonna work?
You know what? There's so many other voices here that I'm not able to really. Yeah. Maybe we could get on the phone. Why don't we get on the phone? Hold on just a second. Let me see if. Let's see. Why don't I'll give you my phone number and you can call me if that would work. Okay, I'm at 404-862-9498.
Great idea.
That's too funny. Hey there.
The language is beautiful, right?
I just love this concept, this whole Torah talk concept.
Yeah, it really turns things around, which I think is very cool. But I think this story has always been confusing, don't you think? Always been confusing. Because, I mean, there's so many parts of it that are kind of contradictory and anthropomorphic and don't make a lot of sense.
Tell me more about why you feel that way.
Well, I mean, first of all, is God not all knowing? And what kind of choices did they have? So that's number one. Did he not know when he told them not to do it that they do it? And why would God tell them to do something that was so tempting and then punish them?
Yeah.
And why would knowledge be punished?
Oh yeah, you hit it.
You know, why is it that they're to remain in ignorance? It's just got so many